What is up, Chocolatiers? Today we're talking about Keeper, the newest film from Osgood Perkins. And this one is definitely a trip as advertised. This is 100% one of those movies where the trailer basically says like, hey, buckle up, you're not getting a normal narrative. And then the movie goes, we're being honest. But the thing is, I feel like I'm kind of a defender of this movie because I know it's been getting a lot of hate. I don't think it's perfect, but it's definitely not the disaster some people are making it out to be. And right up, this film stars Tatiana Maslany as Liz and Rossif Sutherland as Malcolm, two performers who really do get into this performance that they're doing of kind of like this deepening madness. So the setup is very simple. You got Liz and Malcolm who have been dating for about a year, and they head out to a secluded cabin his family owns out in the woods, and nobody else is really around except for Malcolm's cousin, who he straight up calls an asshole. He lives right next door. And the cousin shows up on the first night of their family gathering with what looks like a Russian model. And from the jump, you can tell something is off. He clearly doesn't want Liz there. And Malcolm's kind of being weird. And then Malcolm basically forces Liz to eat what they call the caretaker's cake, which, by the way, is already insane. He's like, eat it. And at the same time, the movie keeps cutting to these POV sequences, like a woman walking alone in the street, or one eating spaghetti at a restaurant, and another doing chores or something like that, like in the mid-1900s. And it's totally disconnected and totally bizarre because you're like, how does this correlate with this, right? Because it's like in POV, so clearly somebody's talking to these women, right? And you just want to know how it ties into her story. And honestly, that's pretty much all I can really tell you without getting into deep spoilers. But let's talk about the pacing and tone, which is my first big problem with this movie. So it feels way longer than what it actually is. Before recording this, I looked up the runtime. I thought that they were lying to me. Apparently Google says an hour and 39 minutes. This movie feels like it's 2 hours. It's like a very slow burn. The movie slogs in the first 30, 45 minutes. You spend a long time sitting with Liz in this awkward, setting of her being at the cabin by herself because Malcolm ends up leaving at one point. And you're really just waiting for the insane creature from the trailer with like the white liquid or whatever showing up. And I kind of like what they were going for, but at the same time, I'm kind of also torn because it's so slow where you could have easily cut 20 minutes out of this movie. Now, I do want to talk about the final stretch, which I actually think is really good. The movie gets genuinely cool. I think that you get these creatures that look straight out of like Silent Hill, and I really love that aesthetic. They're very gross, very eerie, very dreamlike and demonic. The performances are really good here as well. Tatiana Maslany carries this movie on her back because literally Malcolm leaves for 20-something, 30 minutes of this movie, and she descends into madness super well, and even people who didn't really like She-Hulk, I feel like, can acknowledge that she can at least act. And Rossif Sutherland as Malcolm is very great. I know him from Murder in a Small Town. It's the first thing I ever saw him in, and it was just fun to see him in a performance like this. It's way different than that. I think that really what hurts this movie is massive plot holes. Once the movie reveals what's going on, you're kind of just there. You're like, oh, this is crazy, cool. But once you sit there for 5 minutes after the movie ends, you immediately start asking questions that the script cannot answer. You're like, how would this happen? How would you discover this? How would you know to do this in the first place? It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. None of it's really explained either. And then when me and my friends were driving home, the more we talked about the movie, the worse it kind of got in the plot hole department. Because it kind of starts falling apart because you're like, but how would they have known to do? Doesn't make sense. The tone is accidentally funny as well. There are several supposedly scary moments where people in my theater actually were straight up laughing and not chuckled, laughed out loud. And it really undercuts the tension pretty badly because you could see what he was going for, but it's definitely not like a Black Coat's Daughter where it's disturbing. Some of this stuff was kind of goofy. And I think Osgood Perkins is capable of greatness. I just don't think that this is it. It's not really bad. I don't think it's a 2 out of 10. But I just don't think he's operating at that highest level. Now, part of the reason I am also defending this movie is because as someone who is a big enjoyer of his films, I think the only one I've actually really disliked was The Monkey, because looking at Stephen King movies this year, we got The Running Man, which changed the ending, Long Walk, which is changing the ending, and The Monkey just kind of went a total departure. It was really good to see him going back to something original. I don't think he should do adaptations after The Monkey again, but I really did like Longlegs. I know a lot of people hate that, but I just feel like Keeper is somewhere in the middle between those films. This movie's fine. It's not great. It's just not awful. Also, it's just fine. I think that if you are planning on watching other stuff in theaters, like the new Predator, if you're doing like multiple watches that day, I think it's fine. But like if you're making a special trip just for this movie, I don't think you need to. I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth the drive itself, unless you're just a die-hard Perkins fan. So with that, I'm going to give Keeper a 5.5 out of 10. I think it's somewhere stuck in that middle range. It's got really cool pockets of ideas and very strong performances. It just doesn't really think about the plot longer than 5 minutes, or it falls apart like wet paper. But with that, comment down below, let me know your thoughts on this film. Do you feel the same way that I did? What's some of the plot holes that you picked up on? Because I'm sure you picked up on a lot. And with that, like, subscribe for more, and I will catch you guys on the Running Man review, which should be out next.